Welcome to Real English Voices. I'm your host, Tom, and I am absolutely thrilled to be here with you today.
And I am Ria. Hello, everyone. Tom, I have to say, the energy in the studio today feels different. It feels electric.
It really does, Ria, and I think that is because of the topic we have chosen for this episode. We are not just talking about grammar rules or vocabulary lists today. We are talking about a transformation. We are talking about the moment everything shifts.
Yes, that specific moment when you go from saying, I hope I can speak English one day, to standing up and saying, I can do it. It is a powerful switch. But Tom, before we get to the solution, I think we need to be honest about the problem. I was reading our listener emails this morning, and there is so much pain out there.
Pain is the right word. It is the pain of feeling stuck. I remember one email from a listener named Marco. He said he has been learning English for 10 years. 10 years. He can read complex books, he understands movies, but when he opens his mouth to speak in a meeting, nothing comes out. He said he feels like he is trapped inside a glass box.
That image of a glass box is so relatable. I remember feeling exactly like that when I first started learning English. You can see the people outside, you can understand what they are saying, but you cannot reach them. You feel isolated.
And the worst part is you start to blame yourself. You think, maybe I'm just not smart enough. Maybe I'm too old.
Exactly. You internalize the failure. But here's the truth we want to share today. It's not your fault. It's your system. Most people are operating on a broken system. They're trying to run a marathon with shoes that are tied together. Today, we are going to untie those knots. We are going to share the system that changed everything for us.
And this isn't just theory. This is the practical I can do it system. It helped me move from being a shy, nervous learner to hosting a podcast in my second language. So Tom, where does this system begin? What is the first pillar? The first pillar is what I call the shift from student to user. This is crucial. Most people stay in student mode forever. In student mode, English is a subject you study. It's something external. You study it, you take a test, you get a grade. The goal is perfection.
Oh, perfection. That is the enemy. In student mode, every mistake feels like a failure. I used to carry a notebook and write down every mistake I made. I thought I was being diligent, but actually, I was just torturing myself. I was training my brain to focus on the negative.
Precisely, you are building a wall of shame. The user mode, or the I can do it mindset, is completely different. In user mode, English is a tool. It's like a hammer or a bicycle. You don't study a bicycle, you ride it. And if you fall off, you don't write an essay about why you fell, you just get back on and keep pedaling.
I love that analogy, riding the bike. So in this new system, the goal isn't to be perfect, the goal is to be effective. If you can order a coffee and the waiter brings you a coffee, you have succeeded, even if your grammar was messy.
That's it. You have to celebrate the function, not the form. When you make that shift, the pressure drops. You stop analyzing every sentence in your head before you say it. You just speak. And that freedom is where the I can do it feeling comes from.
But Tom, making that shift is hard. It's scary to let go of the safety of the textbook. How do we practically do that?
It starts with changing your daily inputs. But before we dive into the daily routine, let's take a moment. We have used some strong vocabulary in this opening section, and I want to make sure everyone is following along.
Great idea. We always want to make sure we are growing together.
So here are the 3 hardest words or phrases we just used. First is internalize. When we said you internalize the failure, it means you take a situation and make it part of your own beliefs about yourself. You believe the failure is who you are, not just what happened.
That's a deep one. The second word is diligent. I said I thought I was being diligent. This means showing care and conscientious work in one's duties. It usually means working hard and carefully.
And the third word is transformation. This is a thorough or dramatic change in form or appearance. We are looking for a transformation in your English fluency.
So here's my question for you, the listener. I want you to answer this out loud right now, wherever you are. Are you stuck in student mode? Do you treat English like a subject to be studied or a tool to be used? Be honest.
That's the most important question to start with. Now, moving on to the practical application of the system. We talked about moving from student to user. How do we do that on a Tuesday morning when we are tired and busy?
For me, the game changer was micro habits. This is the second pillar of the system. In the old system, I thought I had to study for 1 hour every day. But honestly, who has an hour of free energy every day? I would do it for 3 days, then get busy, miss a day, feel guilty, and quit.
The boom and bust cycle. We have all been there. It is exhausting.
So, the I can do it system replaces the 1 hour rule with the 5 minute rule. The rule is I must engage with English for at least 5 minutes a day. That is it. It can be a podcast, a song, reading a news headline, or talking to myself in the shower.
5 minutes seems so small. Does it really work?
It works because it keeps the door open. It prevents the rust from forming. And the magic is, usually once you start for 5 minutes, you end up doing 20. But the psychological hurdle of 5 minutes is so low that you can't say no. You can do it even on your worst day.
That consistency beats intensity every time. I remember when I started applying this to my vocabulary. Instead of trying to memorize a list of 20 words a week, I picked one word a day, just one. I would write it on my hand, literally on my skin with a pen.
On your hand? That is dedication.
It was a visual trigger. Every time I looked at my hand, I saw the word. I would try to use that word in a sentence 3 times that day. By the end of the day, that word was mine. I owned it. It wasn't just on a list. It was part of my active vocabulary.
That is a perfect example of user mode. You were using the word, not just storing it. I did something similar with shadowing. We talk about shadowing a lot, but in this system, I did emotional shadowing.
What is emotional shadowing?
Well, regular shadowing is just repeating the words. Emotional shadowing is copying the feeling. I would watch a scene from a movie where the character was angry or excited, and I would pause it and try to say the line with the exact same emotion. I would wave my arms, I would shout. I probably looked crazy to my neighbors.
I'm sure your neighbors were very confused. But why was the emotion important?
Because English has a music, it has a rhythm and a melody. When we learn in school, we learn the lyrics, but we never learn the melody, so we sound robotic. When you copy the emotion, you naturally copy the intonation, the stress, and the flow. You stop sounding like a translation machine and start sounding like a human.
That is profound. You're right. Language is emotional. If you strip the emotion away, you're just making noise. By connecting feelings to words, you help your brain remember them better. It's a memory hook.
And it builds confidence. When you can act out a scene and sound like a native speaker for just 10 seconds, your brain goes, wait a minute, I sounded good there. I can do this. That small win is the fuel for the whole system.
Small wins. That's the secret sauce. You need to stack those small wins. Every time you understand a joke in a movie, that's a win. Every time you give directions to a tourist, that's a win. The old system focuses on what you don't know. The new system focuses on what you're capable of right now.
And speaking of being capable, I think we have hit another milestone in our conversation. We've covered the habit formation and the emotional connection. Let's pause for our vocabulary check.
Good timing. We have dropped some useful words here.
Okay, the 3 hardest words from this section on habits. First is hurdle. I mentioned the psychological hurdle. A hurdle is an obstacle or a difficulty that you have to jump over to achieve something.
Second is intonation. This refers to the rise and fall of the voice in speaking. It's the melody of the language that Ria was talking about.
And the third word is profound. Tom said my idea was profound. This means very deep, insightful, or having great meaning.
So here's my question for you. What is one micro habit you can start today, not tomorrow, today? Can you write one word on your hand? Can you shadow one sentence from a movie? What's the smallest possible step you can take?
I hope everyone is thinking of their small step. Now, Tom, we need to talk about the scariest part of the system, the social part, because you can practice in your room for years, but eventually you have to talk to a real human being, and that is where the I can do it mindset is tested the most.
The social cliff. You're walking on safe ground, and then you have to jump off the cliff into a conversation. The fear of judgment is massive. I've seen confident CEOs turn into shy children when they have to speak English in a meeting.
It's the fear of looking stupid. We're adults. We're competent in our own language. To suddenly feel like a child again, struggling to find words, is a blow to the ego. The system has to address this ego problem.
And the way the system addresses it is through vulnerability. This sounds counterintuitive. We think we need to be armored and perfect, but actually, admitting you're a learner is a superpower.
Can you explain that? How is admitting weakness a superpower?
It changes the dynamic. If I try to pretend my English is perfect and then I make a mistake, I look foolish. But if I start the conversation by saying, "Hey, English is my second language and I am working hard on it, so please be patient if I stumble," suddenly the other person is on my team. They want to help me.
That is so true. I remember once I was on a call with a client in London. I was so nervous. I just took a breath and said, I am a bit nervous because I want to explain this clearly, and English isn't my first language. The client immediately relaxed and said, Don't worry at all. Take your time. The tension vanished.
You disarmed the situation. That is the I can do it confidence. It's not the confidence that I will be perfect. It's the confidence that I can handle this situation, even if it is imperfect.
And that leads to the concept of the bridge. In the old system, we try to translate word for word from our native language to English. That is a broken bridge. You get stuck in the middle. In the new system, we use circumlocution. That's a big word.
It is a big word, but a simple concept. It means talking around the word you don't know. If you forget the word for umbrella, don't freeze, don't stop. Say, the thing you hold over your head when it rains.
Yes, describing is better than translating. When you translate, your brain stops. When you describe, you keep the flow going. The listener understands you and the conversation continues. The goal is connection, not vocabulary precision.
I call that survival fluency. You can survive any conversation if you know how to describe things. You become fearless because you know that even if you forget a word, you can still communicate the idea. You're never truly stuck.
And once you realize you're never truly stuck, the anxiety disappears. You realize, I can do this. I can navigate this. It's incredibly liberating.
We're getting into the deep psychology of communication now. Before we move to the final part of the system, which is about long-term growth, let's do our check-in.
Let's do it. We used some sophisticated terms there.
Okay, the 3 summary words. First is counterintuitive. This describes something that feels opposite to what common sense would tell you, like how being vulnerable makes you stronger.
Second is disarm. Tom said I disarmed the situation. This means to take away the hostility or suspicion, to make a situation friendly and safe.
And the third, the big one, is circumlocution. This is the strategy of using many words where fewer would do, especially in a deliberate attempt to be vague or evasive, or in our case, to explain a word we don't know.
So my question for you is, when was the last time you let the fear of a missing word stop you? Next time, instead of freezing, will you try to describe it? Will you try to build the bridge?
That's the challenge. Now, Ria, as we wrap up the system, we have to talk about the plateau, because even with the best system, there comes a time when progress feels slow. You work hard, but you don't feel like you are getting better.
The dreaded plateau. It's the graveyard of so many dreams. People think, I've been doing this for 6 months. Why am I not fluent yet? And they quit. But the I can do it system views the plateau differently.
How does the system view it?
The system says the plateau is where the consolidation happens. It's like when you bake a cake. You put it in the oven, and for 20 minutes, it looks like nothing is happening. But inside, the chemistry is changing. If you open the oven too early, the cake collapses.
That's a great visual. So the plateau isn't a stop, it's a processing phase. Your brain is wiring all the new connections. You have to trust the silent work.
Exactly. You have to fall in love with the process, not the result. If you only care about the result, you'll be unhappy 99% of the time. If you love the process, if you love listening to the podcast, if you love learning that one new word on your hand, then you're happy every day, and fluency becomes a byproduct of your joy.
Fluency as a byproduct of joy. That's the ultimate goal of the I Can Do It system. We want you to enjoy your life in English, not prepare for a life in English, but live it now.
Tom, looking back at your journey, if you could go back to your younger self, the one who was scared to speak, what would you tell him?
I would tell him, Tom, nobody is judging you as hard as you are judging yourself. The world is big and people want to hear your voice. Just speak. You can do it.
That is beautiful. And I would tell my younger self, Ria, mistakes are the tuition you pay for fluency. Pay the price gladly. Every mistake is a receipt that proves you are trying.
Mistakes are the tuition you pay for fluency. I think we need to frame that on the wall of the studio. That sums up everything.
It really does. Listeners, we have given you the framework today. Mindset shift from student to user, micro habits like the 5-minute rule, emotional connection through shadowing, and the courage to be vulnerable. This is the system.
But a system is only good if you use it. You have the key in your hand now. The door is right in front of you. It is time to unlock it.
We believe in you. We know you have a voice that deserves to be heard. Do not let fear keep it quiet any longer.
Thank you for letting us be a part of your journey today. It is an honor.
It really is. Let's do one final vocabulary summary before we say goodbye, just to make sure you walk away with maximum value.
Excellent. The final 3 words of the episode. First is consolidation. Ria mentioned this regarding the plateau. It means the action or process of making something stronger or more solid. It is when your brain locks in the learning.
Second is byproduct. Fluency is a byproduct. This is an incidental or secondary product made in the manufacture or synthesis of something else. It is the extra bonus you get from doing the work.
And the last word is tuition. Usually, this is money paid for instruction at a school, but in our metaphor, it is the emotional price or effort you pay to learn a life lesson.
So the final question, and this is a big one, are you willing to pay the tuition? Are you willing to make the mistakes to get the fluency you dream of?
We hope the answer is a loud yes. Thank you for listening to Real English Voices. I'm Tom.
And I'm Maria. Keep practicing, keep making mistakes, and remember, you can do it.
See you next time.